The following episode of the 8 p.m. quiz may contain strong language, adult themes, and very bad jokes. Please approach it with care.
Next series, I promise I will get a better theme because that's the 9 p.m. edict theme, not the 8 p.m. quiz. But there we go. Good evening. Welcome once more to the seat in front of the Curtains of Mystery, streaming to you live from the Blue Mountains. It's very exciting. This is a bonus episode of Series 2 of the 8 p.m. quiz by popular demand. About 3 or 4 people thought that'd be good. Hi, Shane O'Neill. Glad we could make it for you. So this is therefore Series 2, Episode 6. I'm still Garian, and over the next hour and a bit, I'll be asking you questions and you'll be writing down the answers. 40 questions in all. There's 20 questions in what's cunningly called Part 1. Then we will go through and mark, grade, score and assess your answers. And you can share your scores to see how you're going at halftime. And then in Part 2, guess what happens? There's another 20 questions and then we score them. While we're waiting for any latecomers, let's see who's here. Oh, look, there's 19 separate people on the stream. Hi, Jim Campbell. Hi, Craig Batty. Hi, Pete Lawler, Brendan Ralph. Good evening all. KA's there. Shane O'Neill's there. Ross and I. Got some regulars there. Hi, Bren. Hi, John Avocado. This is all lovely. This is enough for people to have a bit of fun here, I think. What else do I need to tell you? There is a newish episode of the 9 p.m. edict up. I did record that on the weekend. It's called the 9 p.m. 4-phase Year 2 Custard Duck. It's a rhyme. And for those of you who are wondering what's coming up, next week, the wonderful Andrew P. Street, journalist and commentator and chap, will be joining me again. He was last on 6 months ago in December. That episode ended up being called the 9 p.m. Freedom Wine Zombie Mink War Crime, which will give you a flavour of the conversation. So that's next week, and that will then wrap up the autumn series. And we have already started some crowdfunding for the late winter series. You know the drill. I want to get some more episodes with guests through till the end of winter, the end of August. So if you go to the 9pmedict.com/late winter 2021 at some point, either now or later, that would be lovely. I normally ask for a tip, an optional tip, but if you enjoy the quiz, chuck a few dollars into the tip jar. This time, maybe just make a pledge of $5 or something to this. You know, every little bit helps that total. So what else do I need to tell you? Well, you know, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Hey, 21 people there, or 21 simultaneous streams. Not as many as we had originally, but, you know, life's tough. I will say there can be a delay of up to a minute between the time you type something in the chat and I see it and respond, and that gets back to you. So we can't really have much of a conversation there. I'll try to keep an eye on that. It's just there on the side of my screen. Don't put answers in the live chat. That's not helpful. I mean, bad jokes are allowed. Good jokes are even better, but, you know, let's be real, you lot. Don't cheat. You're only cheating yourselves. There's no prizes. You know, so you might as well have a bit of fun. Answer as best you can. Pencils ready. Have you charged your drinks? I hope so. And here we go. Round 1, as always, is the new news round. 5 questions about current news. Question 1, who is Australia's Minister for Sport who will be seeing us proud at the Olympic Games in Tokyo? Who is Australia's Minister for Sport? That's question 1. Question 2. Who is Jovenel Moise? What is their gig is for 1 point. And for another point, why were they in the news this week? So who is Jovenel Moise and why were they in the news this week? Ross and I's got what? Whiskey, lime and ginger ale. Yeah, suppose you can do that. Dinner coming up. Whiskey night. Yeah, it's a bit like that. Question 3 is a picture question. Oh, I better show you the picture. There it is. 3 people who have... Oh, you don't need that URL on the screen anymore. Question 3. Who are these 3 people? 1 point each. I want names. Now, for the woman on your left, I've blurred out what is on her uniform there because it included her name. Sport. And there's 2 other people there who have been in the news this week. Who do you reckon they are? I'll leave that on screen, so if you've got people to chat with, you can chat amongst yourselves to work out who those 3 people are. Question 4, I'm going to play you a little audio clip. I want you to tell me who said this and why they were in the news this week. 1 point each. This will be question 4.
Reports that say that something hasn't happened are always interesting to me because, as we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
Now, I think that's pretty easy. Who said that and why have they been in the news this week? That's question 4. And question 3, the people on the screen, I'll take them off and we'll move on to question 5, which is the world record for building sandcastles was broken this week. World's biggest sandcastle. Where? Where was this record broken? The beach is not an acceptable answer. I mean, it's true, but you need to narrow it down a bit more. The country, I think, would be the level of granularity we want in question 5. Where was the biggest sandcastle in the world built this week? Thank you for the comment about the camo, Pete. Look, this is actually from H&M. So it's very kind of Northern European in its thing. It was on special a couple of winters ago and yeah, it's quite good. Round 2, as always, is a subject of my choice related to something that's happening. 3 questions here, and this week apparently is Great British Pea Week. No piss week jokes, please. I'll get in first. According to daysoftheyear.com, fantastic website, Great British Pea Week aims to enhance understanding and awareness of the heritage and provenance of peas, giving us all a reason to celebrate the little green nutritional wonders. Little green traditional wonders. So 3 questions here. Question 6. In the mid-1800s, peas were central to the research on genetics by an Austrian monk. What was his name? What was the name of the Austrian monk who in the mid-1800s used peas in his genetic research? He was an Austrian monk. We want the name. That's question 6. Question 7. Peas, like many other legumes, contain symbiotic bacteria called rhizobia within root nodules of their root systems. These bacteria have the special ability to process what chemical element? Chemical element, the bacteria in the root nodules of peas process this chemical element. Which element? That is question 7. Question 8, Birdseye is one of the biggest manufacturers of frozen peas, but they also make other things. And in fact, they started with fish. And in 2013, Birdseye got into strife in Europe over another of its frozen products, chili con carne. Why was that? Why did Birdseye get into trouble over its chili con carne in Europe in 2013? And that is question 8. Question 9 will kick off the media round. We interpret media very broadly here to include all of the creative arts and sciences and things like that. 5 questions here. Question 9, which science fiction author wrote Dandelion Wine, Death is a Lonely Business, The Martian Chronicles, and a huge number of short stories in collections such as R is for Rocket, one of kind of my favourites actually, and The Illustrated Man. And I think The Illustrated Man's been made into a movie too. So, which science fiction wrote those books? I'll read them again. Dandelion Wine, Death is a Lonely Business, The Martian Chronicles, and a whole bunch of short stories, 2 collections I'll name for you, R is for Rocket and The Illustrated Man. So I want a point for the name of that author and a bonus point if you can name their most famous book, or arguably their most famous book. A hint, it has a number in the title. I'll come back to that a bit if you're having trouble with it, because that's a complicated one. Question 10. Rugby player Israel Folau is back playing for a Queensland team. Which famous Queenslander is paying for all of this? So Israel Folau, somewhat controversial. That's one way of putting it. Who's paying for his return to the game? That is question 10. Question 11, the song lyrics question. As usual, I'm going to read you some lyrics from a song. This one is from 2005. You get a point for the title and a point for the artist. I'm drinking lemon, lime and bitters. Not drinking at home while in lockdown. Well, depending on how long lockdown goes. Here we go. My life is brilliant. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway. She was with another man, but I won't lose sleep on that. But I won't lose no sleep on that, 'cause I've got a plan. I'll read that again. My life is brilliant. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway. She was with another man, but I won't lose no sleep on that, 'cause I've got a plan. That's question 11. Point for the artist, point for the title of the song. Question 12. Which actor in a general gender-neutral sense of the word actor, has starred in these films? The Good German, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Mowgli Legend of the Jungle, Ocean's 8, Robin Hood, the 2010 version, and The Shipping News. Mr. Avocado has spotted the song and will now be earworming. Excellent. Those movies again, who's an actor in all of these movies? The Good German, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Mowgli Legend of the Jungle, obviously their voice only because that's a cartoon, Ocean's 8, there you go, it's one of those 8, Robin Hood, the 2010 film of that title, and The Shipping News. That is question 12. And question 13 is another picture question. Here we go. 3 people who are in the media fairly broadly. Who are these people? 1 point each. Oh, I know how to read me a lyric, Pete Lawler. So who are those three people there? I think that the one on the left would be the most difficult, but I think, it's hard to say. Hard to say. Chrissy M enjoyed the peas questions. They're good. I can tell you they're all dead. No, Pete, they're not all dead. I just want their names, 1 point each. And that is the end of the media round. Going on to round 4, old news. These are things which were news once upon a time. Well, it's history, sort of, isn't it? And stuff. Question 14. In which decade was the microwave oven invented? In which decade was the microwave oven invented? It's something you may or may not know. You can probably have a good guess at this. Microwave oven. When? Which decade? That's question 14. Question 15. On this day in 1960, Francis Gary Powers was charged with espionage. Why? What did he do that caused him to be charged with espionage on this day in 1960? That name again, Francis Gary Powers, P-O-W-E-R-S. That was 15. Question 16. On this day, or thereabouts, in 1099 of the Common Era, during the First Crusade, some 15,000 starving soldiers laid siege to which city? Come on, Jim Campbell, you were there, so you should remember which city it was in the year 1099 during the First Crusade. Which city did they lay siege to? Some 15,000 soldiers who were a bit desperate for food at the time. That's question 16. Question 17. The dodo, which is now extinct, of course, but where was it found? What island? Where would you have found a dodo? That's question 17. And question 18 is another picture question. Who are these three people? Now, some of this is, I mean, obviously, at least one of these people is not particularly old news, but they're in the news less. Well, long enough ago to make it old news. It's not a new thing. So there are three people. I reckon one of these will be really fucking difficult. And I reckon one of them will be, probably pretty difficult. People more my age might recognise them. Not. And one there. No, they're not all dead too, Pete Lawler. In fact, no, they're definitely not all dead. Okay, that was question 18. I want those three names. Question 19, what's that? This is the critter question, question, which, as I've said before, I'm going to persist with that title until the heat death of the universe because it's stupid and unpronounceable. What is that? And it's got the horn, hasn't it? Better get that out the way. Pathetic, really. Just pathetic. And question 20, as usual, is a who am I? So who is this person that I am now going to be speaking in the first person? as. I was born in Melbourne in 1982 and entered talent contests from an early age. My really big win came in 2004, even though I was only the runner-up, like in second place. In 2014, I married an actor and singer whose first name is Tim. I was a contestant on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Australia. I am 1.57 metres tall, which is 5'2" in the old money. Who am I? Born in Melbourne in 1982, entered talent contests from an early age, big win or big second place in 2004. 2014, married an actor and singer whose first name is Tim. I was a contestant on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Australia, so quality work there. And I am 1.57 metres tall or 5'2". Who is that? Chrissy M's going to keep guessing the same critter name until she gets it right. Fair enough. Any quick fill-ins do we need over the next minute before we go into the answers? While I'm doing that, I will just flash this up again at the halftime break while I'm just seeing if you need any questions quickly repeated or misheard. And we will start going through the answers. Okay, let's go through them. Let me just roll back here. Quick loo break. Oh, Pete, Craig Batty, get back quickly. Okay, here are the answers. Question 1, who is Australia's Minister for Sport? It is Richard Colbeck. See, spelling's not important. Richard Colbeck for the point. He is also Minister for Senior Australians and Aged Care Services, so fucked all round. Richard Colbeck for question 1. Question 2, who is Jovenel Moïse? He is or was president of Haiti for a point. And for the second point, he was assassinated this week, allegedly by gunmen disguised as agents of the US Drug Enforcement Agency. So point there for president of Haiti and assassinated. Question 3, the picture question. Okay, now I did want names here, but here we go. On the left, that is Christine Mboma, M-B-O-M-A, the Namibian athlete who, one of those who was banned from the Olympics for having too much testosterone in her system. So Christine Mboma, I'll give you half a point for the athlete who was banned for testosterone. In the middle, that's Senator Amanda Stoker, who's Assistant Minister for Women. Amanda Stoker for the point, or Stoker for the point. Minister for Women without the name gets you a half point. And on the right, why is Stoker in the news? Just generally being a cunt. And on the right, that is Julian Assange in the news this week because the US government has been granted the right to appeal against his not being, what's the word, expatriated, transferred to the US. Anyway, the US gets to have another go at bringing him to the US. So a point for Julian Assange. Moving on to question 4, the audio. I won't play it again, but a point for Donald Rumsfeld, the US Secretary of Defense in the past. So a point for Donald Rumsfeld. And the second point, why is he in the news? He's dead. A lot of dead people in the news this week, Pete Lawler, just not the ones you were thinking of. Question 5, where was the world's biggest sandcastle built this week? For the point, it is Denmark. Denmark for the point, and I know you want to see a picture of it. So here's a picture of the sandcastle. It is 21.16 metres high. That's nearly 70 feet. It was created by a Dutch fellow, Wilfred Steiger, plus 30 other sand sculptors. There's something like 4,000 tonnes of dirt in the thing, so that camera angle really doesn't do it justice. And he says it represents the power of the coronavirus. And right at the top, there's a model of the virus wearing a crown. Anyway, a point for Denmark. Question 6, P round. Question 6, Gregor Mendel. Mendel was the geneticist's name, Mendel, spell it how you like. 7, question 7, nitrogen was the element that is fixed by the bacteria in the peas. And question 8, what was the problem over the bird's eye chili con carne? They found horse meat in it. DNA tests horse meat in it, in the same way that Subway's tuna sandwiches don't have tuna in them. There you go. Hope you're going well here. I know, Ross, no banana there for scale. Terrible business. Okay, the media round. Question 9, the science fiction author who wrote all those books, Ray Bradbury, for a point. Ray Bradbury. And the bonus point, his best known book, Fahrenheit 451. Fahrenheit 451, named for the temperature at which paper supposedly burns because they burn all the books. Okay. Question 10, who is paying for rugby player Israel Folau being back in the game? It is Clive Palmer. Clive Palmer for the point. Question 11, I won't read the song lyrics again, but the points are 1 point for You're Beautiful and the second point, or the other point, for James Blunt. So 2 points if you've got both those facts. You're beautiful. That was the ARIA singles chart number 11 in Australia that year, the 11th best-selling single in Australia for that year. Question 12, the actor who was in all those films is Cate Blanchett. So Cate Blanchett is the answer there. Question 13, the picture question. Okay, on the left, that is Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston of Friends, and of course the Friends reunion. That's what she looks like around about these days. In the middle, that is David Bowie. David Bowie in the middle. And on the right, Roger Federer, who I was going to do this as a news question, but thought, nah, fuck it. He is now the oldest person to have reached a finals round at Wimbledon. There you go. Question 14. In what decade was the microwave oven invented? The answer is the 1940s for the point. And I know you want to look at it. Here it is. That is as developed by American engineer Percy Spencer, developed from radar technology from World War II, of course. That is the radar range, first sold in 1946. That was it. It was, as you can see, quite portable and elegant in the kitchen. He sold the patents to Raytheon. As you can see, that's where I got the photos from. And they developed a bit, and that is the Radar Range 3 from 1955. And I mean, that's just lovely. And yes, as Craig Batty reminds us, there's a whole thing about the history of microwave ovens being used to thaw out frozen hamsters and bring them back to life. It's a fascinating thing. Suggest you look for that video on the tube. Okay, so a point there for the 1940s. Now, question 15, why was Francis Gary Powers charged with espionage? He was piloting a CIA U-2 reconnaissance aircraft and was shot down while flying over the Soviet Union. I will accept flying a spy plane, shot down over the Soviet Union, that sort of thing. You either knew what it was about or you didn't. Don't mention Annabelle Crabb's name on this chat or this anything I do. Question 16. What city was laid siege to? The answer is Jerusalem for the point. Jerusalem. Question 17. The dodo was found on Mauritius. Mauritius for the point. Question 18 for the picture question. This is a tough one. On the left, that is Isaiah Firebrace, who is a singer, and he was indeed Australia's representative at Eurovision in 2017, I think it was. Anyway, that's Isaiah Firebrace on the left. In the middle, I think this one might be tough. That is Faith Thomas. Faith Thomas was the first Aboriginal woman to play international cricket for Australia, and therefore the first Aboriginal woman to play for Australia in any sport internationally. So Faith Thomas for the point there. I'll give you half a point if you knew she was a cricketer. And on the right, that is landscape artist Albert Namatjira, who kind of, in the 60s, I think he's most active in the 1950s, I want to say. Anyway, certainly in the 60s and 70s, his name was known to school kids. Albert Namatjira, landscape artist. I'll give you half a point if you knew he was a landscape artist. KA, the answers to question 13, they were Jennifer Aniston, David Bowie and Roger Federer. Okay, that's the end of that picture question. Then we've got this picture question. What is that? That is a springbok, the South African thing. I had to hunt a bit to find one that wasn't in the really giveaway jumping position, but that is a springbok for the point. John Avocado, can you have half a point for Eurovision hottie? Sure. Why not? Chrissy M, if you only got last names, yeah, that's fine. I think that's all I need there. Hello, Gavin Costello's here. That's lovely. That's fantastic. And question 20, who am I? Question 20, who am I? Well, that person, that is Anthony Kalea, the singer and sometimes actor. But Anthony Kalea, question 20, for a point. Now, there are 30 possible points in this. So while you're totaling that up and boasting about it on the stream, I will put that URL up on the screen again. It hasn't created any joy so far, but then obviously you're busy playing the game, right? I've lost my place there for a minute. I accidentally got up to critter right. Craig Batty, 16 out of 30. That's quite a good score in this one. We're taking, well, you're having trouble adding here. Is there alcohol allowed? Where? Here, drink as much as you want. Refill your glasses. 15 for Ross Nye, 10 for John Avocado. Look, these are still pretty solid scores. Pete Lawler, you were rocking it last time you were on. KA 5.5. It's been fierce for you this week, I'm afraid. Chrissy M, 15 out of 30. Brenton Ralph, 12. Jenny and Max got 9. 6. Bren, you got 15. That's pretty good. Little Giants with PG, 15. Shane O'Neill, 19. Rocking it in. I think that's the biggest one there so far. 16 for Jim. Jim, you're not going to score a point for the Olympic ban? You were thinking of the other one who was banned for the marijuana, aren't you? Yeah, I thought a few people might confuse the two. Real silly. Okay. People is cooking. That's your problem. Okay. Look, I think we're ready to go on to part 2. I should have put that URL on a hotkey, shouldn't I? Anyway, it's the platypus round, of course, in part 2. So let's keep the sound of the swimming platypus down low. 4 questions sent to me by the Snarky Platypus earlier today. They're usually things about colonialism and a bit of women's sport and other such things. So here we go. Question 21. Hope you're ready. I'm going to go straight into it. Look, before I do, I'll just say to Ross Nye, no, you don't get a half point for Stoker just by saying that horrible woman and aged care minister, because she's not aged care minister. You get half. Oh, I see what you're doing. No, it's horrible person really doesn't narrow it down enough. I can't give that. Okay, the platypus round. Question 21. How many Emirates are there in the United Arab Emirates? I can tell you it's fewer than 50. So how many Emirates are there in the United Arab Emirates? That's question 21. Question 22. Italy has reached the final of the UEFA European Championships, you may have noticed. In what year was the one and only time Italy has won that competition? This whole question would have been, useless for me because, I don't follow sports at all, let alone have memories of what might have happened in the past. But Italy has won the European Championships once before. When was it? It's 22. Question 23. Yes. Where was the final battle of the First Indochina War, which saw the French routed by the Vietnamese? So it is a place in or near Vietnam, obviously, where the French were finally routed at the end of the First Indochina War. Where was that? That's question 23. And question 24, what is the capital of Oman? That's O-M-A-N, Oman, not Onan, which is something else. Oman is a place, O-M-A-N. What is its capital? And that brings us to the end of the platypus round, he says, fumbling for the key to go to the next thing. Round 8, for 5 questions on geography. Come on, here you go. There's quite a lot of geography-ish things this time, but there you go. Question 25. Which is further from the equator? And in this case, that means which one is further north? Is it Hanoi in Vietnam or is it Mogadishu in Somalia? I've only seen one of those cities. I have been to Vietnam very briefly, but it was Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon, depending on how formal you want to be. But I have seen Mogadishu from about 38,000 feet when I was flying into Nairobi in Kenya. It couldn't see much from that altitude. Anyway, which of them is further north, Hanoi or Mogadishu? Question 26. What is the name of the strait between Denmark and Sweden? Denmark, as you know, is kind of grows like a phallic mushroom from the soil of Germany. Sweden is one of the dangly down ones. What is the name of the strait between those two countries? Questions? Okay. 27 is another straight question, S-T-R-A-I-T. The Polk Strait, P-A-L-K, the Polk Strait, P-A-L-K, is between which two countries? You need both of them to get the point, but I will give half points. The Polk Strait, P-A-L-K, is between which two countries? Question 28. The Canary Islands in the Atlantic Ocean are part of which country? The Canary Islands are part of which country? That's question 28. And question 29 is, of course, the infamous map question. And we are in South America this time. There you can see a bunch of countries, their outlines shown and numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out 5 country names, A, B, C, D and E, and you will write down the numbers which correspond to those countries. So there's 5 points up for grabs here. And, excuse me, sorry, I just needed to clear my throat. Okay, so we've got 5 countries. They are A, Chile. Which number is Chile? B, Colombia. Which one is Colombia? C, Argentina. D, Bolivia. And E, Ecuador. Okay, I'll run through them again. I'll do so fairly slowly. A is Chile. B is Colombia. C is Argentina. D is Bolivia. And E is Ecuador. I'll leave that on the screen for a moment as we go on into the World Affairs round. 5 questions, World Affairs very broadly interpreted. Question 30, what does the USA stand for? No, that's a lie. Trick question. The USA doesn't stand for anything, actually. The real question, the actual question 30, what does NASA stand for? NASA, what does NASA stand for? And a bonus point, what was NASA called before it was called NASA? Now, to get the point for NASA, I want it exactly right. And then for the bonus point for what it used to be called, I think we need it right. You can argue the point shortly. Okay, I think we need to take South America away. Question 31. Which very large ship got moving again this week after having been impounded for 3 months? Very large ship, just in lockdown, as it were, for the last 3 months. It got moving again this week. What is its name? This is dead easy. Question 32 might be a little harder. On Friday, there was a bit of a fire in the Gulf of Mexico. You may know there was an oil platform and the pipe from that oil platform somehow ruptured, and then there was a fire and it was a whole thing. Who owned that oil platform? That's the question for 32. For the point, question 32, who owns that oil platform next to where the fire was? Question 33. Something unusual happened at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan this week. What? Now, there was something particularly unusual like it. The event itself wasn't all that weird and in fact was not unexpected. But there was something just odd about this event at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan this week. What was the odd bit about it? That's question 33. Question 34 is another picture question. Only one person in this one, but there are 2 points available. For the first point, who is that? And the second point, why is he in the news this week? You get half a point if you can tell me kind of what he is rather than just his, if you don't know his name. You get a half a point for the position, but you need his name to get the full point, and then you need to tell me why he's in the news to get the second point there. That's question 34. And now we're on to the penultimate round. Let's start with question 35. Whose flag is that? Yeah, that's a flag. Interestingly, that one is actually, specified as being in a 2-to-1 ratio. Not all flags have the same aspect ratio. I mean, there's some quite curious ones, like Nepal has that kind of two triangles sort of thing. More as a little banner, we would have called that back in the day. Anyway, this is a flag on screen there. Whose flag is that? Question 36. These are all types of something. What are they? Transverse, linear, blowout, Barchan, spelt B-A-R-C-H-A-N, and star, like S-T-A-R. These are all types of a thing. What is the thing? Transverse, linear, blowout, Barchan, and star. That's question 36. Question 37, what is Thomas Chippendale noted for? Thomas Chippendale. What is that name connected with? Thomas Chippendale. That's question 37. Question 38. Some researchers at the Czech University of Life Sciences in Prague released some research this week. Pavel Horky was the leader of a team there, and they did something to trout, brown trout specifically. What did these people at the University of Life Sciences in Prague do to brown trout in the name of science? I can think of a few things. Anyway, what did these Czech researchers do to brown trout in research out this week? That's question 38. Question 39 is the which city is this question? It's pretty easy. Actually, well, it's one of those, isn't it? It's easy if you know and it's difficult if you don't know. That's a city. What city? Big clue, it's not in Australia. What city is that? And finally, question 40. This is the 5-point finale. I give you the name of something and you have to choose from 3 descriptions what this thing is. And today I'm asking, where on a woman would you find the or a Sussex loop? Sussex Loop. It's a thing or the thing or something. Where on a woman would you find the Sussex Loop? Is it A, in her handbag because it's a band for tying back long hair for horse riding? Oh, it might be in a purse or something as well. But that. Is it B, would you find it B in her frou-frou because it's a contraceptive device? Or C, would you find it around her arm because it's a type of jewellery? So where would you find the Sussex Loop? Is it A, in a handbag, it's for tying back long hair if you suddenly go horse riding? Is it B, up the contraceptive device? Or is it C, around her arm as a type of jewellery? That's A, B or C. That's question 40. Right, and as usual, we now pause to see if you need any quick clarifications. No, I think we're right this week. The stream's been going quite well. Okay, let's go through them. Starting off with the platypus round. More platypus on the screen while we're doing that. Oh no, it's button 7. There we go. There's the platypus from San Diego Zoo for all that. If we go in another series, I'm going to get some proper Australian video footage of the platypus. Okay, question 21. How many emirates are there in the UAE? There are 7. Namely Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Dubai, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah and Al Quwain. Anyway, there's 7 there. So 7 for the point. Question 22. Italy won the European Championships in 1968 is what we want there. 1968 for that. Question 23. Vietnamese beat the French at Dien Bien Phu, or Phu, Dien Bien Phu, I think that's pronounced. I'm not even going to attempt the toad. Dien Bien Phu is the place. And 24. What is the capital of Oman? It is Muscat, M-U-S-C-A-T. There was a thing called Muscat and Oman, and there's a whole history about that. But currently it is called Oman, and its capital is Muscat. That's the platypus round. Question 25, which is further from the equator, further north. It is Hanoi, and really by quite a large margin. Hanoi is 21 point a bit degrees north. Mogadishu is only 2 degrees north to the nearest 0.1 of a degree. So Hanoi for the point there. 26, what is the name of the strait between Denmark and Sweden? It is the Kattegat, K-A-T-T-E-G-A-T, though spelling is not relevant here. Kattegat means the cat's throat, or Kattegat, that'd be. If you wrote Skagerrak, wrong. That is between Denmark and Norway. Have a look at a map once all this is over. The Skagerrak leads then into the Kattegat, down the cat's throat before you end up in the Baltic Sea. All very, very exciting. So Kattegat for the point. Question 27, the Polk Strait is between India and Sri Lanka. So half a point each. If you get them both, that's the whole point. India and Sri Lanka. Bit like a test match. 28, the Canary Islands are part of Spain. The answer is Spain. And then question 29, let's look at the map. Okay. The numbers you want, the winning numbers, are 6, 1, 7, 4, 2. I'll repeat those numbers. 6, 1, 7, 4, 2. And just to run through the numbers there, Number one at the top, number one, that's Colombia up there at the top. That was B. Number 2 is Ecuador, which was E. Number 3 is Peru. Number 4 is Bolivia. Number 5 is Paraguay. Number 6 is Chile. Number 7 is Argentina. And number 8 is Uruguay. But you only get, of course, the 5 points for the numbers. 6, 1, 7, 4, 2. World Affairs, NASA, and you have to get this exactly right, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So you need aeronautics and you need administration. Agency, 0. If you said aeronautical or something, no, it has to be aeronautics. Very strict on that one. National Aeronautics and Space Administration. The bonus point, it used to be called NACA, N-A-C-A, and I'll give you half a point for NACA, but for the full point, you need to have National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. Okay? So National Aeronautics and Space Administration for the point, any mistake and you're out. And for the bonus point, NACA, N-A-C-A, gets you half a point, but you get the full point if you have National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. Okay. Question 31, which large ship, etc.? The Ever Given, G-I-V-E-N. Evergreen, no, that's what it says on the side, but that's the name of the company that owns it. Ever Given was the ship. 32, the oil platform is owned by Petróleos Mexicanos. Petróleos Mexicanos, I'll give you half a point for petroleum, Mexican petroleum. Yeah, Petróleos Mexicanos. Half a point if you got Mexican petroleum or Petroleum Mexico or something like that. 33, what unusual event happened at Bagram Airfield? Well, the US forces left, but for the point, they left at night without telling the Afghan commander. They just turned off the electricity and just slipped away in the night without telling the base's new Afghan commander, and he only found out 2 hours after they'd gone. Yeah, you're in charge now. So for the point you get is Americans snuck away, sneaked away, something along those lines. But the sneaky bit is the key part, left secretly, all of that. The picture question, that is for the full point, Jacob Zuma, Z-U-M-A, Jacob Zuma, I'll give you half of that point for if you said the former South African president or leader of South Africa will do. And for the second point, what he did this week, he handed himself in to the cops and he's going to jail for 15 months for contempt of court. There is an ongoing corruption inquiry into his 9 years as being president. He was meant to be giving evidence at the inquiry and he kept defying instructions, so he was found to be in contempt of court, and he came in and surrendered to the cops. Rosnai says they fucked off. I mean, that the Americans, well, no, the secrecy bit is it. We all knew the Americans were leaving. So there you go. No, it's the secret snuck off. Just fucking off is not enough. Gavin Costello is right when he says, yeah, enjoy the Taliban friends. Anyway, that's Jacob Zuma, half a point for President of South Africa, and the second point, surrendered to the cops or is going to jail as part of that corruption inquiry, but for contempt of court. Okay, 35, that is the flag of Nauru, an island famous for bird shit, refugees and financial crimes. The symbolism there is that Nauru as an island is only 1 degree south of the equator in the Pacific Ocean, I should say. And so there's the blue of the Pacific Ocean, the yellow line of the equator, and there is Nauru just below the equator. Quite nice, actually. Okay, so a point for Nauru. Question 36, all those things are types of sand dune. And in fact, a barchan, B-A-R-C-H-A-N, is particularly the crescent-shaped dune that is that classic, wind-blown thing. But the other types of sand dune traverse linear blow. Anyway, the sand dune for the point. Sand dune. 37, Thomas Chippendale is noted for his furniture. He was a furniture designer, so a cabinet maker, but furniture was his thing. So you either knew that or didn't. Question 38, what did those researchers do to brown trout? The answer is they got them addicted to meth. This was a thing. They looked at the levels of meth that are sometimes in wastewater, shall we call it, from cities, and they put trout in water that had the same amount of meth in it as you could find in the water from some cities for 8 weeks. And then they took them out of that water, and then they gave them a choice of going to clean water or water with meth in it, and they kept going back to the water with meth in it. So the answer is, they turned the fish into drug addicts, addiction, drugs. That's the thing. You don't have to have meth, but that's the point. We need to know this apparently. So yeah, I guess the trout didn't give consent. 39, which city? That is Kyoto in Japan. A point for Kyoto. There it is. Now do ice, says Gavin Costello. Meth is ice. What? I'm confused. Doesn't matter. I shouldn't try and understand the jokes. Unless that was just a suggestion for everyone. Now do ice. Yeah, here we go. Anyway, that is Kyoto in Japan. And for the final question, question 40, where would you find the Sussex Loop? Well, here's what it looks like. There's what one looks like. So the answer is C, around the woman's arm. It's a type of jewellery. They date from the Bronze Age. They are as bracelets or armbands. More than 30 have been found over the years in, you guessed it, Sussex. So C is the answer there. The others are just made up bullshit by me. So that's 5 points for the last one. 5 points for C, you would find it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you're totaling up, there's 30 points available in the second half as well. So tell me what you got in the second half, and then tell me what your total was out of 60. There's the URL on the screen right there to pledge your support to the Late Winter Series 2021. There's one more come in there while we've been chatting, which is lovely. So thank you very much for that one. And yes, if you enjoyed the game, not in the tip jar this time, chuck it in the into the possible campaign there to bring that total up, and that will all help. I need a second screen. Do that on. Okay, the Browns trout study is going to be marvellous, Oberon's Ghost. Yes, it is. There was actually a point to it because it means that if the trout get addicted to drugs, then they'll keep going back to the polluted water rather than staying in the fresh water, and it won't be as good for them. And it affects their health and they're not as nice to eat, although I don't know. Yeah, that would be... So... let's have a look at the scores going in here. 17 out of 60 for Mr. Avocado. That's not bad. This is pretty fierce. There's, you know, Australian-centric stuff here. Gavin Costello, half-time, 20 out of 30. That's awesome for the half-time. 30 all up, Craig Brady, 18. What? 18 for 37? Oh, you missed one, did you? I'm confused. 18 and then final 30, 37, Shane O'Neill. That's really, really solid. 32, Jim Campbell. Excellent. You can see the scores there if you're on the chat. And if you're watching the replay, like, the chat's there for you to see as well. So I won't go through all of them, but it does appear that Shane O'Neill rocked it in. That's a really solid score, 37 out of 60. For those of you who are new here, getting more than 50% is a solid score in this quiz. Some of them are really, really quite tough. So that's it. That's the bonus episode, and that's the end of Series 2 of the 8 p.m. quiz. Whether there's a Series 3 or not, and in what form, I'm still thinking about that, because it does take a bunch of time to do. And I need to kind of, I don't know, make it more accessible or something, and bump up the numbers, which perhaps just means to promote it or something, or simplify it or whatever. So I'll be thinking about that over the next couple of weeks. There will be changes as I come back to it. I'm thinking maybe 3 rounds of 10 questions each, so that we have 2 chances to compare scores before we see the final round and things like that. Do tell people about that. Listen to the 9 p.m. edict. You know, all of those things. I'm just looking at, look, I told you all about this stuff before. You know all about these things. So the next thing you'll hear from me is in the coming week, Andrew P. Street on the 9 p.m. edict. So until then, I'm Stilgarian. Wash your hands.
The 8 p.m. quiz is a Skank Media production. Sorry.